Okay, folks, let's get started. And man, this is a disaster. Let's not have that one on unless we're going to specifically paint something. That makes it really distracting. Should have plenty of these. We'll use that one when it's time to do some other painting. We did some cleanup here because this place was upside down. I couldn't think at all. So this is what we worked on this morning, is the Stug 4. Let's brighten that up. You guys are not seeing the real picture. Well, nobody's watching a real picture right now. I got nobody on right now. Hopefully we got some folks that'll be on a little later. That's too bright. This is so hard to adjust. Just down a little bit. Okay. Let's try that. Okay, so we're going to, we drilled the antennas and we made some sprue, which was a lot more difficult than I remember it being. I think the sprue I have is just too old. And we're going to put the two antennas on here. And we're going to base this joker. Okay. Where is the little tray that I have here? Let's go ahead and do that stuff, because we're going to need to glue it down where it goes. And yeah, so we're going to have to use the US Field Drab. And we did pick up some other brushes. And unfortunately, those are probably from the Evil Nation, but I need to get some dry brush brushes. And I'm on a tear here, so getting stuff done. So, oh, we didn't use one of these. We used one of these big ones over here. Yeah, there we go. And we're going to dry brush this color, which is the mid shade, on here. And actually, we could use this. I have a bigger purchase on this. And we're going to do this the same way we did the Shermans. We're going to do this color, we're going to let it dry, we're going to pop this thing off, mark down where it goes, sink it in there, and epoxy the joker down. Had a lot more trouble making the sprue than I thought I was going to. I think the sprue I have is just old. Well, it is. It's definitely old. It's 30 years old or something like that. water, which is in a place it shouldn't be. It should be over here. And all right, are we to the point where we need to pop this thing off? I think so. Well, it wasn't difficult. Here's the original color it was in. Very, this thing sits flush, doesn't it? It sure does. Okay. So let's mark kind of like where it is. And nope. There are many of these that has a blade. Make sure it's kind of centered here. We're going to take our little scooper. Yeah, not too far away from that. I'm going to vacuum this up in a moment. Maybe a little wider than that down here. Okay. That one's good. Just do the same thing on the other side. As soon as I can find the markings. Jeez, that was loud.
I put it in this mug because the espresso filled up the other mug too high.
Okay.
So I put a lot of water
Okay.
in it. It's good, I tried
Say
it.
hi to everybody.
Hi.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
It's my awesome daughter that made me a big glass of espresso. Okay. Let's scoop a little bit more of this out. That's right, let's wake up. So in a couple of hours, I won't be able to go to sleep. Actually, I'll be able to go to sleep. I'll just wake up every hour going, huh? What? Had an extremely productive day today. So that's good. Other than the painting this morning, it took maybe 3 hours. I wasn't really in a rush. I was trying to figure out how this was going to be anyways, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. Okay, so that's going to sit there. It should be able to sit there as well. Yeah. All right, so let's take all this stuff right here. Really? I brought paint onto here? Great. I vacuumed and cleaned all this area, so I'm not really in a hurry to make a mess again. Let's get a little piece of cardboard. We could use this one. We're gonna mix some epoxy on and epoxy this joker down. Trying to work its way down to the bottom. I'm wondering when I'm going to have to buy more of this epoxy. I've only had this stuff for about 15 years. I've got my money's worth out of it. Oh, this is the stinkier one. That was a bit like urine. I remember when I was a kid, epoxy wasn't worth a damn. It wouldn't cure well, and that stuff's been really good. I'm definitely buying it in 2 separate bottles, not the one squirt syringe. That doesn't work. The 2 bottles works really well. As a matter of fact, it's been a long time of using it. How close are the 2 bottle liquid levels? Okay, they're starting to, there's less in this one than the other one. It was really even for a long time. I got my money's worth out of that stuff for sure. All right, let's make sure we got no stickum stuff on here. John Sank. Which brand did I use for the Stug? This is a BP cast. There's a vendor that used to come to our shows, in Tampa. I don't think he ever went to Orlando. In Tampa, so he hasn't been to a show since '96 for sure. I'm sorry, 2006. My bad. He never went to an Orlando show. He went to the Tampa show. I'm guessing he went to the last one. And it was a guy named Tom Panetta, and his company was BP Cast. And he made these things. I'm not sure how he made them. I don't know if it was a model that he made a mold out of it. That's what it looks like it is. But yeah, I've had these for before I ever played DBA, so probably 2003, 2002. And these things were like $10. That's how much they would go for. $9 or $10. So I think they were a good deal. But it's all resin. You can see the color it is. Now his resin smelled like mothballs. So Wasn't very pleasant smelling. And it had some bubbles, but honestly, this is probably one of the better ones. It's actually not a bad model. Some of the other ones are a little cruder. I have a Archer by him, which is that British tank destroyer. I have a Bren carrier. I have a German half-track. The BT-5 Russian tank and BA-6 Russian armored car. I'll show you those in a second, because those actually finished recently, last year. I think last year, yeah. So this is my first German vehicle completed. Since we've been doing them in a civilized manner, since we have been basing these guys in a civilized manner, not just kind of throwing them together. Let me show you the armored cars. Armored car in the BT-5. They actually paint up pretty well. Oh, and a little Russian Jeep too. These three are BP cast. I think you can find some of them on eBay. Hey Nordic, welcome. Did a bad guy this morning. Yeah. So this is a Gaz 67 Jeep, BA6 armored car, and a BT5 tank. So yeah, they're all gonna be on bases, and they're all magnetized, so you can bring them with you on a tray if you need to travel with them, and they're not sliding all over the place. Nah, I gotta put these away. Yeah, they're not bad looking. Today's your birthday. Happy birthday. You game with those miniatures any day of the week and twice on Sunday. Yeah. This is the MIG paints that we dry brushed on. Never tried to dry brush something that watery. And it just took a little bit of patience. But worked out okay. Now I actually don't have a book on the Stud 4. I don't know if you even need those books anymore. Those squadron signal type books. So let's go and pull a picture and find out how long we're going to make these antennas. That's one thing I did today is I made sprue. And I swear, back when I was doing 1/35th scale models, it was easy to do. It's hard as shit to do it now. It just doesn't behave. The material just doesn't behave like it used to. I got old sprue that's losing its elasticity. You won a bid on a hex encounter game detailing the entire 1940 Holland, Belgium, France campaign. What'd you do wrong? No, I actually don't mind the hex encounter games. I just don't want to play it wrong. I wish there were more of them on computer. Most hex encounter games look just fine. So, all right, let's find a picture of a STUGIV. I know about how long they are, but I want to be precise if I can be precise. Okay, I like this one. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it looks like the antennas are as tall as from the hull up. Okay, so in other words, they're about as tall here up this way. And let's get the sprues that we got, and we made a bunch. I was on a roll, and I'm like, this is such a pain to make. Because the sprue I have is 30 years old, so it's just lost its elasticity that it has. And I literally just threw them on here. This is about 3 hours ago. to let them cool off. Let's see what we got here. This one should be fine. Let's cut it off here. And let's go back to the other page now that we've looked at what that is. And I may put camouflage on this thing, but I don't think I'm going to on this one. You've been looking for a suitable game, France 1940. This one popped up a couple days ago. Made on GMT in 1993. Is unpunched pretty much now. You can also try getting paintbrushes and using wire saw. I guess that would work too. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Right. So let's just detach all of this. And this can go in the garbage can. And let's just cut about here. It's going to be too long, but shit, we can probably cut it in half. It's a little thicker here than on this end, but I think it should be close enough. And I don't know if it needs to have a little bit of a bend in it. I don't really care that much one way or the other. Okay, let's move this stuff out of harm's way. And we'll mess with that stuff later. Let's get super glue out. Wonder if Rick's lurking? Maybe. He's hiding in the corners, waiting for somebody to pick up after him. You know, that reminds me of something that happened yesterday. I got to do something I've only done 3 times in my life. And I went to a football game. And my wife's boss gave us extremely good tickets in an extremely good area. That's how you watch football game. But anyways, so there was you can like get drinks and stuff like that. And people just like at the movie theater, like they just leave their trash everywhere. And I'm like, that's just, I never understood how people just like leave trash everywhere. Just pick up your crap, man. These are the people that like leave shit at the beach. Like, you brought all that stuff with you. Why can't you take it back with you? I never understand why people do shit like that. And it's one thing if you like spill popcorn. Yeah, you're not going to go pick up every kernel, but you know, if you brought a container with popcorn, take the freaking container of popcorn back with you. It's going to give away its position because there's this tiny little whip antenna. I've only been to 3 football games my entire life. 3 college football games my entire life. One was in 1985. One was in 1997, and the other one was yesterday. And this one was by far the best one, just from the amenities that we had. Actually, the only gripe I had is that yesterday went way too quick. Okay, so I'm not liking this one significantly. It's thicker than this other one. So let's remedy that. Man, I need my glasses really to see what's going on. Let's grab them. Here it is. $6mm stuff antenna? No, that's not feasible. That's not feasible at all. That's not feasible at all. This isn't setting worth a damn. That's super glue. So let's take a look at this. Let's make them both like this one. This is about the same, about the correct thickness. Let's take this one off. All right, now there's that epoxy glob. And then here's the... Where the hell did the other one go? Good Lord. Trying to put simple antenna on, take 3, action. All right, you go. There, and then you go. I had a double of a time making this sprue though. I had to watch videos and I don't really know I don't think I was doing anything wrong. I think the sprue was just too old. It was losing its properties that allow you to do that. Eric Gray, welcome. Okay. So this thing is pretty well glued down. While those antennae are being set, let's do the which one is it? Is it this one? I think it's this one. The Iraqi sand, which is the final color here on the ground of this. And let's pull this one again. So this is the color that we started with the stud. And it looks like freaking mustard yellow. It doesn't look right, but I think it turned out really well. Or I'm really happy with it. It turned out in a way that kind of how I envisioned it. Wait until the end of the month. End of the month on 10 mil. What rule set will you use? Are you going to use command decision? command decision is going to highlight the differences between the different tanks, because on paper, the French tanks, for instance, are really powerful. But the fact that they only have one-man turrets and no radios should be reflected in the rules, or it's just going to be like these bunkers that nothing's going to be able to penetrate. You got to call in a Stug with hollow charge ammo, or an 88, which, you know, aren't everywhere. Okay, we already kicked some of this up on the sides. Now, this is kind of a bad molding. And you can sit here on the tracks there, you can kind of see that on the fenders, the end of the fenders. But it is what it is. Always enjoy the old combined arms rule. I couldn't find mine. I don't know where mine went. I had them. We used to play them in 91, 92, something like that. They were okay until a M1 showed up, and it just basically like broke the game. You know. I remember what they'd do is, at that time, the M1s had thermal sights and none of the Russian tanks did. So they dropped smoke on themselves in front of the American tanks and they'd just shoot through them. Been a long time since you played Command Decision. It's been longer for me. I definitely haven't played it since 94 or so. Okay, so now that we have that, it's time to get our plants out and plant some shrubbery, but ones that aren't too expensive. All right. M1 is a world beater tank, yeah. I don't get excited about the M1. You know what tank gets me excited? An M103. Oh, M103 is sexy cool. I know, it's a piece of shit compared to M1. I don't care. I'm a modeler. I build models. I like the M103. Yeah, these things stick together. Shoddy workmanship. M1 is a world beater tank, yep. And a T-55 is a wife beater tank. I remember we had those T-55s, and there was just wreckage. All we did was we took one platoon, one company of M1s, so 3 tanks, and they basically just stopped an entire Russian drive. Lowland Tufts. Those AK Tufts. No, these guys were Gamer's Grass, and I have Army Painter. AK Tufts. No, you mean like MiG stuff? MiG makes them? Let's do 3 of each. Problem is you can't find these in stores anymore. Like all the stores here carry like Army Painter stuff, and they stopped, and now it's just Games Workshop stuff. I'm like, come on, man. And get the Elmers out. Let's get a brush. And we can see what's going on. One that's not too expensive. Maybe this one? MIG Tufts. Okay. No, I didn't know that they have stuff. I can't find MIG stuff in stores. I can't find MIG stuff in stores. And this worked really well, but man, their paints are very, very watery. Very, very watery. I never dry brushed something this watery before. But it worked out just fine. I did a couple different changes. What I did was, this is the MIG color here. And this is the Vallejo dark yellow. And they're really close. So I dry brushed dark yellow overall. And then this one, because it's thicker. So we pretty much dry brushed the entire vehicle. And then we did Agrax Earthshade over the whole thing. And then when we came up over with the MIG, we did this shade and this one. This color that looks like white isn't actually white. It's the light shade for this concoction of suggested colors for the Dunkelgelb mixture. But I think it's a bit extreme on the white end, but it actually worked out just fine. It didn't look like it was going in the wrong direction, but it didn't look like it was going in the right direction. But I had faith and it worked out. But I want to prime everything in black, because if I prime everything in black and I dry brush everything up from there, I get a free pin wash out of the whole thing. So that's my idea of cutting corners, to get a free pin wash out of it. All right, now, this is in the wrong place. Okay, I thought it was right there. See what happens when you move stuff around? It moves down here now. Leave it to ESPN and Fox to ruin a playoff game. Well, I did something I didn't think I would do. I shut off the win or go home playoff game for my team. The announcers are utter trash, and it looks like they gave up already, so I'm out. Guten Abend. Okay. Yeah, I only speak Blitzkrieg German. And none of that is Blitzkrieg terminology, so I'm out. War game German. The announcers in games would be a lot better if it were like the 3D bot maker announcers, right? Man, that Demolition Derby is freaking hilarious. freaking hilarious. Now, we still have some of this stuff. Why am I evaporating spell check? I don't know. Is kaputt. There's a product that one of the guys used in some pictures that were posted at a museum for, I think it's like a market garden museum. They did a market garden game there. And I guess War Games Soldiers and Strategy posted about it recently. And I asked him, I said, hey, where'd they get the grass and stuff? Because they had like these branches that were like thrown over a Jagdpanzer or something like that. And it said it's made by Green Stuff World. So I may get some of that stuff because that looks like it's got ambushing German tank destroyers written all over it. Yeah, look at that. Look at that happy stuff. And we're going to do the Russians. Oh, we're doing the Russians a little different. We do all those T-34s and stuff. We're going to, their base color is going to be a little bit more like my Huns, like my white Huns. It's going to be more steppe looking. I think that's going to be a nice contrast between their green tanks and the ground color. There we go. Yep. Yeah, these things they're not drying. Oh well, it pisses me off too much. I'll just put epoxy in there. I was so excited to use this sprue. All right. Let's put one here. Let's put another one here. Do I have a third one? Yep. We're going to put it here. Okay, let's get the vacuum out. Clean this stuff up. And this only decal it's on here is the little Balkenkreuz on the back. That scale, the smaller vehicles look better on a base. Yeah, well, so there's pros and cons. The reality is some of these vehicles are going to have to be on a base because they're too fiddly. So at that point, do you want every vehicle on a base and consistent? Yes, I do. I have a lot of half tracks that have tracks that are going to get damaged and not going to work out if I don't put them on a base. And same thing with motorcycles. You know, you got to put them on a little base. No, really? That wasn't a disaster. I I hate when I'm in my own way. So, you know, that's the stuff you. Definitely want them to be consistent. And you know, you want to travel with them, so they've got magnets on the bottom. So the only thing I wish that this would have had the option to have the commander's hatch open, because I got some cool commanders that would fit in there okay. And this is a crappy type model, but I think it turned out pretty well. Of course, I need to get farther away from it. I think, I mean, at like 3 feet distance, it looks freaking perfect. And in natural light, it looks excellent. Let's get a Sherman next to it. A Sherman that's supposedly the right scale to it. So, a 72nd scale Sherman. Man, I like the brown Sherman so much better than the green ones. Yeah, it's a crappy model, but you know what? It's not that crappy. It's really not. So let's see if I can get away with this. I'm going to try something crazy. Ready? I'm going to disconnect this. At that distance, you guys aren't seeing the right color. I'll take some pictures at this distance. It's really fabulous. It really turned out fabulous. So much that the next German tank I will do will definitely have camouflage on it. I didn't want to put a Balkenkreuz on there and try to do it over the Zimmerit, because whether I use a decal or paint it by hand, it's going to look like crap. You know, no matter how good a job. I've even seen real vehicles. They look like garbage. Nothing beats a North Africa Sherman. I agree with you. The schemes of British use really pop the vehicles. Yep, they're masters of that stuff. They take American-looking stuff and make it look good. So, okay, let's put Shermie away. The problem I have is things that are painted black. What do I have that's painted black right now? Nothing to jump on next. So, maybe that's what I should do next, is paint something black. Cue the music, paint it black. No, that would get me in trouble. Really? Well, you're out of the way. And this area is picked up, but I hate doing klutzy shit. Knock something over when you have no intention of touching it. So let's compare what we've learned. All right, and this is the internet. Some of it is my skills improving. Most of it's the internet and ideas from other people. So the last German vehicle I painted was probably close to the year 2000. And it looks like this. It has no weathering on it. It has the shitty graph turf basswood base. This is a Hasegawa Panther G. And even though I think I did the ambush scheme turned out well, it just has no depth to it. So this will be redone at some point in the modern method. So, to be continued. I wonder if I could pop the hatch and put a dude in there. Maybe. I don't know. I probably use that weld cement and it's over. But you're playing a skirmish type game, you don't need to get a, your crews don't need to be unbuttoned at that range. I see a red door, and I want it painted black. Yep. So anyhow, just a little bit of an improvement. Okay. And here's the one by Dragon, pre-painted miniature. I don't know if I got the balls to repaint this. I should just try to sell it, get money for it, then buy a model, and then paint the model. Just a little. They even have weathered the panels on the underneath part. Anyhow, these are using the MIG color, so this is what the MIG people recommended. Even though I think this looks better, but I actually like the depth of this one. The Zimmer really pops. Really pops. All right, enough of that. So we're going to go from here. And, to give you an example, these are the examples that they have on the box. And honestly, it looks pretty freaking close. And they cheated and used airbrushes. I ain't using no airbrush. I don't need an airbrush. I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with these vehicles. I'm sure these are Flames of War stuff. I'd be absolutely delighted if my stuff turned out like this. So, it's pretty much turned out equivalent. This would look better if the model was better. So, anyhow, pretty awesome. Now I just got to fret about people pushing my tanks around and damaging them. I got to seal them too. I got to seal it with dull coat. That's left to be done. Okay. Stuggy, sorry. Stuggy 4. Alright, let me get in my pile here and see what I should be able to paint easily black. Well, we can certainly do this guy. This is another crappy model. One of those vehicles everybody loves. It's kind of crude. It's pretty crude. Panzer 2L. From Raffam. No hatches that can be opened. Man, it's just sloppily put together. You just can't put these things together not sloppily. They just don't fit well. And this one actually has the antenna here. So let's drill out the hole for the antenna and paint this thing black. What would I go with if you had a choice of Poland 39, Winter War, or Stalingrad? Well, what scale am I doing it? I love the Russian front, but I'm not a Stalingrad fan. For multiple reasons. And what scale? Poland 30, like for instance, Poland 39 is really cool. Okay, if I was going to do Poland 39 this scale, I would love to do it. This Polish manufacturer makes all the Polish vehicles. They're cool. Everybody likes the Poles. But the problem is the Germans that fought there have a white cross, so that's out. You know, I could just say I'm going to paint them like they did in France, and give them the, you know, give them the standard cross thing. That's probably what I would do. And you know, oh, it's not realistic. Well, whatever. In a few months, they would change that anyways. 10 millimeter platoon scale, one basic platoon, one vehicle, platoon of that vehicle. Winter War is going to be a lot of infantry. A lot of infantry. Stalingrad, just a lot of tanks. Just a lot of, not tanks, buildings. That's like overwhelming. Why got to be those three choices? Why I got to make those choices? Trying to figure out why this is like all oblong. Poland's over too quick. I think I'm just going to paint this thing black and just move on. Now, interesting, this is not going to have a point where I'm going to be able to hold it. All right, let me rethink this. Because I only have like 40 minutes. And then we got to go watch something, a family thing together. Oh, here's another BP cast thing. Talk about garbage. Here's a 251D. And it is really, really rough. Three choices. Barbarossa, the desert. What's the third one? I don't know. One area doesn't get a lot of play is late 43 after Kursk. But I can just think like mud. Just freaking, just a shitty mud hole. You know, to the extreme. I don't know if this thing is salvageable. Look at the air bubbles there on the vision sights. All right, how am I going to glue this thing down? I can glue it on either side of it, but it won't be the center of gravity. Is there a place where the helping hands can be helpful? There's so much flash on this thing. This is just a poor model. And these guys are still in business. Those guys are still in business. Uh-oh. The side skirts on the leg pants broke off. No. I guess maybe we need to fix that instead. I'm painting this one like a picture I used to have of the 116th Panzer Division in Normandy. This was glued up here, and it came unglued. Do Balkans. Nobody does Balkans. Yeah, there's a reason nobody does Balkans. Italians in Greece. Oh, really? This comes off? What the hell, man? I put this together the other day, like, well, I thought. Maybe I didn't glue the top and the bottom so I could paint the road wheels and shit. No. And I kind of wish I hadn't sealed the two hatches shut. But there wasn't any, you could see the inside. There's no, like, arms. So I'd have to create arms, how they opened. That's probably a good idea, Nordic. I'm not going to do that right off the bat because it's kind of overwhelming. But that's probably actually a good idea to use it as a some kind of an objective, you know. Maybe even a wrecked ambulance. And you got somebody important that's left in the ambulance. They got to go rescue them. That's probably a really good idea. Lord knows I got enough German half tracks. Okay, let's leave that upside down. Now, I was disappointed that I actually found something today when I was looking for extra sprue that made me kind of disappointed. And that's when I was putting the 3M together. I couldn't find the flam turret, and then I found it. And I would have made this a Panzer III Flam. And instead of just a standard 3M. And this is a track that came up, so we need to staple this booger shut. And this is one that we'll end up using when we paint this. We're going to end up using that method you were talking about, using what do you call that thing? The Q-tips to push that down in. Whenever we get around to doing that. Let me go staple this thing. I'll be right back. Run another B to glue down the connector line of the side skirt. Talking about this. Hope it doesn't reactivate. I had a model of that one in 1/35th scaled. There should be enough flex in this thing. Yeah, see, that's one of these things. If you look at this, you see this idler wheel? The idler wheel is solid, right? But yet the center track has a little notch in it. So it's like you got to take the notches off or create a notch there for it to fit right. These SG kits are not even close to being the best. I don't know why they're held in such high regard by, maybe it's not nostalgia or something, but they're pretty shitty, honestly. Yeah, so that'll fit in here. Let's take a look at the Panzer III because I thought I had all the sprue together and I didn't. And I found a couple of things for it. We found, this is just extra sprue, which I'm not throwing away. I threw away too much of it and then I had a problem. Here's the flam band, the flam barrel, which looks almost the same, but it's just not tapered. It's just straight across. So I guess if I really wanted to change it, I could probably take this thing out and put the flam one on there. So that's a possibility. So really, I don't need to have any of this stuff. I just can just keep the... I did too good a job of cleaning up everything. Hetzer's a nice looking tank. I like the vehicles that are not normal looking in comparison to other vehicles. You know what a Hetzer reminds me of? If you're a Civil War person, remember the Confederate ironclad, the Manassas? It reminds me of that. Just a little turtle. Just a happy little turtle just going about its way. It just reminds me of that. Yeah, Hetzer's kind of unique. Hetzer's got a Hetz. Yeah, I just don't know if I'm gonna make it a flam one or one. The reason was, and when I was putting this on, I think I mentioned that I wanted to be the flam one, and then I just gave up because the barrel wasn't there. But the problem is it was hidden in some other kit. They make this particular model for the L, I think. The L, the M, and the N. It might even be the J. The long J comes in the same kit. Maybe it doesn't. By Plastic Soldier Company. And I know at some point I'm going to get some. And I don't think I'm going to ever have more than one Flam Panzer III. So I might as well make this one that's a little bit different. I'm sure something on here is going to be different than the Plastic Soldier Company. So I may just do that. Now the other thing is that I found the shirts in for it. And I don't think I've seen Flam Panzer IIIs with shirts in. You know? Now that I mention it, it does look like that, yeah. Yeah, the Manassas is cute, and the Hetzer's cute. You know? Yeah. Well, they're okay. So here's the example. If you have this, I gotta put this on a base. Because whatever I end up doing to epoxy this down or what have you, You know, and whenever it's time to glue this down, I'm going to pull this off and take those little teeth off so it fits smooth with it. It's not that big of a deal. But you're going to have this on some kind of a base. Otherwise, you know, constantly touching these things is going to cause it to fall apart in the middle of play. Especially if anybody is more ham-fisted than I am. Flampanzer 3. Have you seen any with Schertzen on it? I don't think I have. Yeah, let's see what we got in here. Let's see these old-ass instructions. Well, I was able to rescue just about everything except that little Ford pickup truck. It's interesting when I got these instructions. Look down here. See that thing in silver on here? I didn't put that on there. So this had some decals that didn't come with it. I bet it was some SS decal or something. Like for Totenkopf or something, and they decided not. Oh, you can't sell those. You guys ever seen a Flampanzer with a Schertzen? I don't think I have. And honestly, I could kick Schertzen's ass. I don't like the way Schertzen looks. Okay, my preference is to not have it. Not because now I also think it's a nice challenge to build it. So with that said, yeah, I think I found these instructions, and nowhere on here did it say you could build a Flampanzer one. But yeah, that's the Flampanzer barrel. Because they made different kind of versions of these Panzer III kits. They made one that was literally just the Flam. And this is obviously the barrel for it. So if I really wanted to put it in there, I bet I could take that out. And re-drill that. I gotta think about if that's what I want to do. Yeah, I don't think you're gonna find one. I don't think you're gonna find a Flampanzer 3 with Schertzen. I've never seen one. And again, why does it have this particular opening? You found a Flampanzer with Schertzen? What was I reading? There's I had purchased what do you call it? The chain of command module. There's stuff you can get online, you know, digitally, and there's the expansion for Wintergewitter. I forget exactly. I think they call it. I think they just call it Winter Storm, you know, which is what Wintergewitter is. The relief attack to Stalingrad, which didn't make it, and it's like 24 scenarios. And I wanted to get it for, you know, ideas for, because I'm a fan of that particular campaign. One of the scenarios, you could have a Flampanzer 3. Flampanzer 3s weren't around in that time period. There was no Flampanzer 3, as far as I can tell, that was not painted Dunkelgelb. So there's no Flampanzer 3s before February 43. So you're not going to see one in gray. You know, there weren't that many of them to begin with, but yeah, I've never seen a picture of a Flampanzer 3 with shirts and. I got 5 L's that are die cast. During 1943, 100 Panzer III Ms were built by Mayag and converted by Wegmann, the supermarket people, as Panzer III flamethrower tanks. Main gun and internal ammunition was replaced with a flame projector and fuel tanks. The effective range of the flame projector was 55 to 60 meters, 164 to 196 feet. Okay, so 60 meters, if you divide that by inches for my game, this thing can flame project 30 inches away. That's freaking awesome. I mean, this miniature, and then measure 30 inches away, and that's how far it can shoot. That's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing. 55 to 60 meters depending on weather conditions. Enough fuel was carried on board to allow approximately 81 2-second bursts of flame. So, 81 times. The majority had initial 30mm armor plates welded to the whole front, since they had to get close to their targets to use the flame projectors. It was assigned to special battalions, normally consisting of 20 to 30 tanks. Most saw action on the Eastern Front against fortified positions. I saw some of them that were in Italy. There's a decal set that has them in Italy. I think I should make it a flamethrower tank. Honestly. I think I should make it a flamethrower tank. That was my intention to do it, and then I couldn't find those parts. You won't be volunteering for that powder keg of a tank. Just imagine what it smells like. You know, that fuel, you know it's not going to smell well. You know? You know it's not going to smell well. And I don't need the hatch open, because why would you have a unbuttoned flamethrower tank? You know, that just doesn't make any sense. All right. Now, this does have another... That might have been for like an early version. All right. What do we got to do to this? Okay, that'll work. If I want an M, I could get one from Plastic Soldier Company. All right, there's a little bit of this on here. Let's drill that out. We should be able to slide the other one right in. I mean, the other thing is if you have one of these, you can go, you can make that sound all the time. Who wouldn't want to do that? Okay, pin vise should be easier to find. Well, should be easier and is easier are two different things. Don't put a pin vise in with the thing sticking up, because then it's wedged in here and I can't get it out as easy. We're going to want a pretty big one. Let's start them small. Well, all these tanks that I put together a couple months ago, this has been about a couple months, really were helpful for some real life skills, because I ended up replacing a whole bunch of things on our doors all over the house, and I'm like, oh, I could do this, just because I was able to problem solve all of the issues that these half-built kits had. So that was really handy and empowering. I didn't have analysis paralysis. All right, it's a little oblong, but I think they should do the trick. All right, let's take this thing out. We need to make it a little bit bigger. Still need to go bigger. Go big or go home. It isn't too big. Let's go up a size. Yeah, you won't be volunteering to go on the Eastern Front. That'd be a bad move. That's a bad career move. A little bit bigger. I don't see having more than one Flammpanzer ever. It's just unnecessary. That almost doesn't even need to be glued in there. Make it a little bit bigger. This is the kind of patience I have that I wouldn't have had 20 years ago. Okay, that's a good fit. Now, we've got to drill the end out. So for that, we got to make sure that it's flush. And I wish I could see things that were this distance away from me. Feeling around for... Hey, found it. Okay, let's make sure that's rounded. I mean, flush. Yeah, let's use the back of this. Yeah, twisting on me. One vehicle I think is always really cool looking is the Hummel. But a Hummel firing at a distance, like when its gun is up like at 45-degree angle or something like that, just looks really weird. Just doesn't look right. Now, when I drill the end of this, let's get a starting spot. Now, let's downsize to this. Makes a real big difference how something looks like if you just drill the end of the barrel. Doesn't have to be all the way down. Doesn't have to be more than like a 1/16 of an inch, just enough to, it creates some illusion of some depth. I don't have a Nashorn. Nashorn looks sexy. I do not have a Nashorn. Or a Hummel or a Vespa. I have a Martyr 2, the ugly ass one. And I have a Martyr 3, the one that's on the Czech chassis with the 76mm Russian gun, the really long, I think it's like a 52 caliber, right? 51, 52 caliber, something like that. Long ass frickin' gun. Hold on one second. Yes, 7-minute countdown. Let's do this right here. I think we got time to put this together, and that's it. The Martyr 2 is ugly as shit. It's the one that's on a Panzer II. I want to say it's a D hull. An ugly hull. The same hull that the Flampanzer II was on, which is another ugly vehicle. And only had about 100 of those as well. So, are there German flamethrower tanks? Yes. Are there many of them? Absolutely not. They are not a common occurrence. They are not a common occurrence. Okay, so that's going to glue in like this. Flampanzer barrel. It's going to be going like so. Let's make sure this doesn't stick out past it. I don't think I even need to file it up up against anything. It's just a little. Okay. Can I get away with just gluing it from the back and letting it drip in? Well, I can't get away with doing that. Yes, I can get away with gluing it in from the back. And that's what we're going to do. And then this, let me just make sure that the coax is on that side. Yeah. Oh, okay. That other face plate is for the N. I hate the N. It's definitely my least favorite Panzer III version is the N. I know, they were for fire support. I still hate them. I want to get a pack of G's and a pack of H's. And you can build them both with Plastic Soldier Company. And this is definitely a Panzer Yellow vehicle. With the whole front of it like scorched, like brown, black looking. I see. That's where that's going to be a little bitch about it, huh? Okay. So this is a Flampanzer. Excellent. Well, I don't want to put any unit markings on it. I'm going to be a little bit more generic than that because you might want to use it for Italy, which the problem with Italy is the units that were in Italy are just not very exciting. Nobody knows about them. 26th Panzer Division and 16th, I think, was over there. Stuff that I don't particularly find very exciting. Yeah, Plastic Soldier Company, yep. And it's real easy to build, which, I'll be honest with you, I actually enjoy the model building part. I did. So, anyhow. Yeah, because this scales up nicely with So, yeah. They're almost perfect scale to each other. And I got 5 of these. So, okay, well, that's going to be it. Yeah, I like them both. I didn't enjoy the painting part, but I'm pretty sure I kicked this. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I'm real happy with how it turned out. And I'm happy using these colors they said to use. I would have made it a little bit warmer looking. It actually, to be honest with you, natural light looks warmer than this. But anyhow, I'm pretty happy with it. Okay, folks, well, until next time, thanks for stopping.